You have been told your entire career that the answer is more effort, more hours, more activity, more hustle, more discipline, and more grind. If you're a high performer, you probably applied that advice faithfully for years. And at some point, if you're honest with yourself, you began to notice something troubling. The results were not proportionate to the effort. You were working harder than most people you knew, and you were not producing results that reflected that effort. It's not because you were doing it wrong. It's because you were doing it from the wrong identity. And today we're talking about the hustle trap, the most seductive dead end in high performance, and how to get out of it permanently. So welcome back to the podcast. You know, hustle is the performance world's most dangerous false solution. It feels virtuous. It feels responsible. It is culturally celebrated. And it is, in many cases, genuinely necessary, particularly in the early stages of building something. But a hustle applied from the wrong identity does not produce better results. It produces more of the same results at a greater cost to your energy, your health, your relationships, and your capacity to sustain that hustle. Here's the cruel irony. High performers who are who identify with the effort, who have built their self-concept around their willingness to outwork everyone else, are often the most trapped by the hustle paradigm. Because for them, increasing effort is not just a strategy, it's an identity statement. I am someone who works harder than everyone else. And challenging that identity, suggesting that the work may not be the variable in their results, kind of feels like an existential threat. So they keep working harder, and the results keep plateauing, and the interpretation is always the same. I just need to work harder. This is the trap. And here is the principle that unlocks this. Effort amplifies identity. It does not change it. Whatever identity you are currently operating from, more effort produces more of the results that identity generates at a greater rate with greater efficiency. So if your identity is that of someone who earns at a certain level, more effort produces more of the activity patterns of someone who earns at that level with more energy expenditure. If your identity includes a belief about what level of client you work with, more effort is going to produce more of the same quality of client, faster, with more exhaustion. If your identity includes a self-sabotage pattern, more effort produces more elaborate, more sophisticated, more exhausting self-sabotage cycles. Effort is a multiplier, and a multiplier does not change the base number. It just multiplies it. You got to change the base number, the identity. And the same level of effort produces exponentially different results. This is not an argument against hard work. Hard work from the right identity is one of the most powerful forces in human performance. This is an argument against hard work as a substitute for identity work. Let me introduce a concept I call the effort identity matrix. There are 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 is low effort plus low identity calibration. This equals stagnation. Low output, limited growth, low performance ceiling. The person is not investing in the work and not investing in the identity. The results are going to reflect that. Quadrant 2, you have high effort plus low identity calibration. This is the hustle trap right here. Maximum effort applied to a limiting identity. The person is working at full capacity and producing results that are capped by their self-image. They're exhausted, frustrated, and confused by the gap between their effort and their outcomes. This particular quadrant describes a significant portion of high-performing but underperforming entrepreneurs and sales professionals. And then we get to quadrant 3, low effort with high identity or new identity calibration. This is the underachievement of potential, but for a different reason. High identity calibration without proportionate action does not produce new results. Identity creates the capacity. Effort activates it. This quadrant typically describes people who have done significant inner work, but have not translated it into consistent execution. And finally, we get to quadrant 4, high effort plus high identity calibration, new belief systems combined with high effort. This is elite performance, when identity is calibrated to the level being pursued and effort is applied consistently. The results are disproportionate, not just additive, exponential. This is not a fantasy. This is the standard experience of people who have done genuine identity work and then deployed their natural capacity and work ethic from the new foundation. See, the goal is not to work less hard. The goal is to move from quadrant 2 to quadrant 4. And the path from quadrant 2 to quadrant 4 runs directly through identity work, not through more effort. So let me paint a picture that many of you will recognize. The high performer who is, by any objective measure, among the most active people in their industry. Up early, working late, consuming content, networking, trying to build systems, always in motion. And the results are good, genuinely good. They're in the top 20% of their peer group, but they're not in the top 5. They're not in the top 1. It's because they're not at the level their effort would suggest they should be at. And they kind of know it. You probably know it. From the outside, the prescription seems very obvious. Keep doing what you're doing, just more consistently, just push through the rough patches, just get more disciplined with your time. But here's what is actually happening. Every high activity day is being run from an identity that still, at the subconscious level, defines what level of result is appropriate. Every networking connection is being filtered through a self-image that determines which rooms feel natural and which don't. Every sales conversation is being conducted by someone whose self-image is slightly misaligned with the level of the prospect. And that misalignment is detectable, even if invisible. Prospects feel it. The effort is real, but the identity limitation is also very real. And no amount of additional effort will resolve an identity problem because the effort is being applied by the limited identity. So the solution is not more hustle. The solution is to change who is doing the hustling. Here is the shift I want you to make coming out of this episode. Stop measuring your performance by how hard you are working. Start measuring it by the quality of the identity you are operating from. Ask yourself, not did I put in the effort today, but did I show up as the next version of me today? Did I make the decisions that version makes? Did I have the conversation that version has on a daily basis? Did I maintain the standards that version holds daily? Did I see myself the way that version sees themselves? The effort will come. You're a high performer. For most of you, effort is not your deficit. For some of you, it is. For most people, the identity is the variable. Work hard, but make sure you know who is doing the work. I want you to calculate something this week. Take the number of hours you invested in business activity last month. And if you're not tracking, it might be a good reminder to keep tracking your daily behavior, daily method of operation. Because I want you to look at your results. Now ask yourself, is this the result that a person operating at my target identity level would produce from that level of activity? If the answer is no, you have to just quantify the cost of that identity gap. See, that gap is closable, but it doesn't close through more hours. It closes through structured identity work. and then the same hours produce a fundamentally different result. Book a sales call at restartyourlife.com, and I'll see you in episode 10.